contact!
How deep can you plunge into the darkness?
Through the dark veil of space, time.
I wish we could have joined you sooner.
This is Warp Chatter!
Time is short. There is much to be done.
The wait ends now.
All right, welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, to the Warp Chatter podcast, the podcast dedicated to talking about Horus Heresy Legion's digital card game, Horus Heresy lore, Warhammer 40,000, everything that encompasses. You should know that by now, but we're going to keep saying it at the intro because that's what you do with an intro. I am your host, Scuff D, and with me, as always, is the crab co-host, Axel Manning.
Howdy, howdy, ho, folks.
Hello, and this is a podcast by players for players, and to that end, today we are going to be talking with a player who is the first time being on. This is Soulcake Duck is joining us.
Hello, hello. Nice to be here.
Hello. We'll just refer to you as Soulcake, unless the duck is really important.
That's fine, or I mean, since I'm probably more known on Reddit as Arguss, either one. That's
okay.
Just,
I think
back and forth, either one.
Do I have you on as a Reddit? Is that where you tagged me at? I can't recall. I thought I thought I first put you down as a Discord
I might have put it. I think I probably put it through Discord, but yeah, never. I mean, either way,
that's not a problem.
Whatever
But it's always nice that we get some of the Reddit crowd over and guesting on, which is nice. I sadly I had like 3 or 4 people from the Facebook group who wanted, and then every time, I think we've only ever had through the course of the year and a half that we've been doing one person from Facebook come over. Yeah, they just
it's a good conversation with them.
Yeah. I think it's good just in general. There's different pockets of social media platforms that people kind of gather or gravitate to. So anytime you can kind of spread out and diversify the conversation, that's a good thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. And speaking of spreading out and diversifying, we're going to be talking today about the September balance patch at length. But before we get to that, we're going to do player introductions. So Soulcake, Arguss, tell us about yourself.
Well, I have been a long-time Warhammer 40k fan, falling in love with it kind of in middle school. Specifically, I think the beaky helmets of the Space Marines won me over. I'm a sucker for cool sci-fi armor. From there, collected a little bit, Space Marines, Tyranids, got my dad into it. He played Imperial Guard for a small bit. Eventually, just, kind of running out of people to play with. Giant video game, sci-fi nerd anyway. And after kind of years of putting down the hobby, kind of going back to it just because I love the lore so much. And since right now my financial situation doesn't lend me thousands of dollars to build up armies, and I'm also horrible at painting, I ventured out looking for kind of Warhammer-esque games and found Legions, I think around the Malevolence expansion.
Okay.
If I time that right. And then since then, I guess ended up on Reddit because I was looking for help on gosh knows just how to play anything. And after kind of lurking for a bit and trying to be a jack of all trades, master of none, just started putting my input in on when the daily shop would pop up. And I think since then I have a tiny, small cult following. So, that's always fun, but just try to do it daily, try to help people out. I will not claim to be any sort of master. I'm in low Terra. I will always stay low Terra, and that's fine by me. But I just, I do this for fun. So,
well, that's good.
Happy to be here.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you're not having fun with it, you shouldn't be stressing yourself out over it. And there's a lot of ways to have fun. And whether that is, playing different warlords or just playing the faction that you like or, helping people out or kind of having conversations about the game. I mean, it's all different sorts of facets. That's cool.
Definitely.
Is there a particular faction that you've kind of gravitated towards over the course of time?
I would say starting out, I went into Salamanders because, lore-wise, I like them the most, and at least play-style-wise, I'm definitely probably more of a troop-based, bash your opponent in, drown them in all the blood type of person, and the survivor, and eventually now quote-unquote updated sacrifice abilities definitely lend its way towards that. I am sympathetic to the plight of the guardsmen, though, so I really have thoroughly been enjoying the Imperial Guard mission and cork with it as well. Otherwise, oh gosh, as I'm thinking over it, I will say with the game in general, I love how many factions are represented. Only other ones that... Oh yeah. Only other one that stands out, really, I guess, would be Ruinstorm. Not because I'm an agent of chaos, though. I do have to thank Corebox for getting me to rank 2500 to begin with, so I will be grateful for him. And yeah, I think it's kind of those three, but I do try to spread out, try as many as I can, especially if I'm, for posting whatnot, try to test them out as best I can, and that way I don't have any archaic opinions, or try to see as much as I can, really.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Well, I was I forget who I was talking to earlier this week, because we were discussing. I think it was following World Cup. Oh, it was It was the guy who played for World Cup, Kashuro. She's part Team Spain, and we both were talking about playing practice and not playing ladders much, because we just like to diversify and play things that you don't get to play a whole lot of. And that was one reason why I had stopped playing ladder, like that was solo, like that's all I did. And this is 2 years ago now, but it was like, I look back after a year, and this was right at Calth, I want to say, after the full Calth expansion had released. And I look back and I was like, I had played 6 warlords the whole year. That's it, just to play. And there, at that point, there would have been 70 warlords, roughly, give or take, counting the neutrals. So less than 10% of the warlords in the game just to play on one specific mode. And I was kind of tired. I was like, there's a lot of guys I'd like to play. And now, you always had that option, but now it's just like, I don't even have to worry about it. It's like, what do I feel like? I want to play something different. I want to try something new. Maybe I'll see if I can make this little Mimi deck work. Maybe I'll try something. But there's so many warlords to play, and a lot of them don't get played because, at least on the high tier of the ladder, because they're not what's going to win. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a fun time playing them or giving them a try.
Have you heard of what Arsenal did a couple seasons ago, before Titans?
Before Titans?
Well, for just variety on ladder, he would climb, but he would have a limit of lives for a warlord. If he ran out of lives, he would stop playing that warlord.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Run through. I'm pretty sure Chaos Spawn got eliminated instantly, which I feel is fitting. But most of them put up a fight.
That's good. I think if you're a skilled player, there are a couple warlords that you're going to have a hard time playing efficiently or getting wins, and especially when you're playing at a high level where everybody's playing the most high stuff. But I think you can get wins with anything in. I don't feel like that's a fair statement. Consistency, though, in ladder, especially high tier, that's more important. So having that filter is like, I lost twice or lost once or 3 times or whatever it is, this warlord's out. Hey, there's 150-ish warlords to go through. You could probably go through the whole month and still not go through them all, especially if you're doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something you got to point out. Everything works, but it's whether or not everything works consistently. Yeah. That's what really matters when you get up, because a loss is 20 points and then a win is 5.
Yes, exactly.
You really got to crank it up.
Hey, all right, I won 2 times with Arguss. And then I lost once, and that erased those 2 victories immediately, especially higher up.
So it didn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, at least for me, I know I've been playing for over, a year, 2 years, and I know just climbing ladder, I always just get so paranoid, and then eventually I stop myself before I, get into the string of defeats, and I'd rather just, get as high as I can, maybe, breach 3,000, but then after that, it's kind of just stopping there, resting on the laurels, and then going back to practice mode and just kind of memeing around and just having fun with it.
Yep. You could hit those. I used to hit, my goal would be hit 4K with this warlord. And I think there was 1 month I was 3980 because I hit 4K and then I pushed a little bit and then dropped him below. But yeah, it's the thing. It's how much stress do you really want to put on it? Is it super big deal? Is it not? Do you get more fun out of it? Or are you at that point where it'll be more fun to me to drop back and play, I don't know, Angron or Karn for a couple games to get my dailies in and move on, and not freak out over this one top deck or this one random, roll. I know some people, that's what they live and breathe, every day when they play, and that's fine. It's just not for everybody.
Yeah, no, I can't do it that way. I get too much into it, and I have to set the game down sometimes, just because like there's certain factions where I'm just expecting a certain card to pop up. It pops up exactly when it's good for my opponent, but for me, it's just soul crushing. And it's like, I need to take a break, or let me just find one of my fun decks and just play that. Pick up Chaos Spawn and try to see if I can rush down a legendary warlord and feel proud about myself for that.
Yeah, when you
I
get those
live on a
ones
nice
too.
edge.
Yeah, when you
Demon Host.
with the Demon Host. Yeah, I know you do.
No, that's a nice edge. You got to pray for the exact one you need. 20% chance. It's exhilarating.
I didn't get to do the video. I forgot to record halfway through our Barnet Legions this month, but that was Axel's entire experience. And then, like on the Vox chatter,
yelling.
It was just like, please flank, please flank, please flank.
Listen,
It was
you got to
fun.
give a prayer every time, or else it won't happen.
Because it made up for the last time you brought Word Bearers, and then all you got was Survivor Ward. Like every time, it was like, come on.
Oh, every single time.
Every
Anyone who
time.
fought me that night had an awful time.
Every time, I was like, can you not get Survivor Ward on your first go here? So,
And then I hit a death stat for 4.
that was it for me. I just that really sealed the deal for me on Death Stats officially.
It almost threw me out a window.
The worst card ever as of that game. Like up until that game, it was on the borderline, but after that game, I was like, that's it. Get out, Death Stats. You're drunk. So you played a variety of things. You're on the Terra scene occasionally, up to a limit, playing practice.
Yeah.
Have you ever played any of the tournaments or anything like that on the Reddit? The subreddit tournament?
I have not, just because for my job as a teacher, I find myself weekdays pretty busy, and kind of at nights I'd rather tune down a little bit, where maybe play a couple practice games or something like that on here, but I don't think I could fully commit to the time. I've been tempted to.
A week-long tournament.
I feel like I've read about it, but I'm not.
Basically, they start Monday, and then you have 2 days to play your games at any time in those 2 days, and then you move on to the next round where it works the same way until the week's over.
Okay,
Just for
well,
people
maybe
with a bad schedule.
Yeah, it's a little bit more flexible to give you an option, but that is, like you said, I mean, it depends on your interest and your timing, but
I've done like 3 tournaments, and I won one of them, and that's when I stopped doing tournaments. I got the one item I wanted, and I got the fuck out.
That's a good thing. I think this last weekend, the weekend tournament anyways, I think they had 16 players, which was really nice. That's a good turnout.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously,
the subreddit one hit like 32.
Yeah. That was really good. I hope they get to do another one. Even if it's just
Our boy Dorian is bringing it back.
If he brings it up, let me know. I'll participate just to up the prize support. I have no interest in winning. I just want to see people get more gold, because I think that goes from like 3,000 or 5,000 gold for first place or something like that. It gets crazy the more players there are.
I'll check right now. But yeah, it's pretty good. At one point, second place even gets a legendary.
Yes, yeah, if it's big enough, exactly.
Okay, so here it is. At 64 players, theoretically this could happen. First place gets 7,000 coins in a legendary. Second place gets 6,000. Third place gets 4,000. Fourth place gets 2,000. Fifth place gets 1,500. And sixth place gets 1,000.
That's still
That's
pretty
a lot
good.
of coins.
That's 64 players, but that's a lot of coins all the way down to sixth place.
Let's do math real quick. Let's say 100 coins is $1, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is for the Americans here. That's $70 if you win first place and a legendary, which is guaranteed on 30 crates. So that's another $30.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you've got the goal to get another 60 crates, so that's 2 more legendaries that are random, but the one that you get to pick is one that you need. So
yeah, and even duplicates where it's the gems and saving it up for that shop for that one specific one.
Yes,
whatever comes first.
Yes,
because that's what I always have, where I just banked up like enough for 2 or 3 legendaries that pop in the shop, and gosh dang it, when they finally put the chaos mission in, it's gonna be a glorious day for me.
I mean, as of the date of this recording in the Eye of Terror studios, the chaos neutrals are in the veteran shop today, and I was sorely disappointed that the only new card in there is the Priest of Doom. And I was like, really? No mission? No, I thought was it the new epic tactic that gives 3 marks of chaos?
I was disappointed in seeing that, where I felt like they lost out on because they'd been rotating the missions in, and it seemed like it would be this turn, and Nope. I mean, not that I don't love Pyramid of Photap, because it's led, to quite a few hilarious games, whether I lose them or win them, but it's not my mission, and I really want it.
I feel like maybe, I guess, in a month and a half, we might see it again. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Mm-hmm. Those neutral rotations are the worst, because there's still like 20 other legendaries that they could put in there, so... Ugh.
Yeah. I'm afraid of the Omnissiah and the Chaos Gods, and maybe the stars will align.
Yes. Well, speaking of praying to the Chaos Gods, I think that's half of our that's half of the balance patch here. We have the September balance patch to discuss. We had a variety of changes. I think last week we did mention that we were going to flip tables and drop kick small dogs. Not really, but if
I don't know about that one. But
if the Titans were not addressed, they were addressed. We'll talk about how well they were. And your dogs are safe. Your small dogs are safe for now.
For now.
But let's go through this patch here, because it actually touches on quite a few factions, even if it's just one or two cards. What I'll go ahead and do, we'll start with the Word Bearers, and we'll just kind of review each faction spot. The Word Bearers are the bulk the bulk. They're the largest part of it. So the Word Bearers mission, Chosen of the Gods, now has its description changed to a friendly unit kills a friendly troop 4 times. That means that your Warlord can now be included in that count for destroying, and then also reduce the cost, which is nice.
And the original version specified it had to be friendly infantry.
Yes.
So this means
I
don't have to shoot myself in the foot because I can kill my own Astartes.
Yes.
Somehow.
Or vehicles, or anything that you can just sack. Exactly.
It's still not easy to proc, though.
No, but it is. The reward remains the same.
Which is a shame. But something in here makes up for it.
Yes. Erebus's initiative was increased from low to medium. The Book of Lorgar had its cost lowered to 3, and now its description is your Warlord gains remove the maintenance of friendly demons, which is what it always had, but you also put a lesser demon into play for 3 energy. So immediate value, as well as at a reduced cost for the Book of Lorgar. Zealous Pawn has its cost lowered to 0. Dark Channeling has its cost lowered to 4, and its description is now add 2 lesser demons to your hand. They cost 2 less. This is as opposed to 3. Mutant Astartes has its description changed to it has Cleave 4, and it has Resolution, destroy another random friendly troop and gain +2/+2. Sword Talgron has its stats from 8/8 to 9/9, which I believe sounds vaguely like a conversation that I had with the community manager. I don't know. Corphaeron has a new special card. His new special card is Dark Sermon. And what it is for 1 energy, it gives +1/+1 and Survivor 1 to a friendly infantry or Astartes. So just with the Word Bearers, not looking at any other stuff in here. Takeaways.
All right. So, Chosen of the Gods is a fun mission because it kills your curve if you succeed in it. A Resolution Demon fucking hurts because it's not going to do anything, and your mana is just going down, your energy. But Book of Lorgar has been quite possibly overbuffed, and with this reason, it's playable now. So you can just counteract that downside of never getting the mission off, and if you do, you hurt, to there's no downside. You're probably getting a Ravager off that 3 energy, because I've seen that fucker every time it's been played, and now it has value. Lesser demons extend to the 2 hidden ones. People forget there's 2 demons that no one can see.
Yep.
Like, you can't collect them. And they're crazy for that reason. But this way, everyone can get them. Besides that, I mean, overall, I think everything here was good. No one's going to play Zealous Pawn still. It's not a great card.
It's not a great card, but I would include it if I was doing the mission or playing just a broad demons with Lorgar. And I'll tell you why. Because for 0 energy, I can throw that Plague Flies into 7 health on my Warlord.
True. It does help.
Or like, hey, if I need to, I can pitch a Devourer of Worlds and gain 15 health. I mean, that feels like a really bad play, but I mean, maybe that's the play to make. Just as a one-off, I wouldn't run 2 of them in a deck.
What I would really like about it, if it wasn't based off of the current HP, but the max HP.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So that means I still swing with something, and I'm not sacrificing health by swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Because that'd be my thing.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that'd be my thing, where just I'd be tempted to more kind of recycle some of the troops, like I'm thinking of the Night Lord's tactic, the disagreement, where you just get 5 health for destroying a friendly troop, and I'd always use that for, hey, something's almost dead. Might as well, it's not going to trade well into anything, it's probably going to die to AoE or who knows what, so might as well get it. And Zealous Pawn, yeah, I think I'd agree with what you're saying.
Zealous Pawn. It breaks my heart to have to say this. It doesn't work on anything that's not an infantry or a Astartes, too.
Oh,
yeah, true.
So,
it's just infantry and Astartes, so no demons, huh?
Yeah. So there's actually very little potential for this thing.
Yeah, and you know what's weird is it's an epic. And you're talking about disagreement. Disagreement's a common. I mean, to be fair, the Night Lords are probably the most disagreeable, but that's kind of interesting. You got this high rarity that does not all of anything. That's too bad.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. Besides that, I mean, Zealous Pawn got the short end of the stick.
I mean,
Dark
technically,
channeling,
it did get buffed, but just it's still not. Yeah.
The fact that it only works on them doesn't help. What would even be nice if it adds the attack to the HP and you just heal it, or even if you heal the cost of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a bunch of potential there.
Well, I also
but
thought
instead it's based on HP stat.
If you changed the mission to just when any of your cards destroys a friendly troop, then Zealous Pawn could serve that role too, and not just your Warlord. But then you're getting kind of like, okay, well then what if I just do Hand of Fate and then boom, mission, So, maybe somewhere down the road, Zealous Pawn will get a look at. I think overall, I like the changes. I was a little surprised that Dark Sermon didn't have like backlash return to hand, But Survivor 1 and +1/+1 actually does get some longevity out of some units.
Yeah, because I've been
to notice it goes on our Astartes as well. That can be a lot. That bastard who pumps out Jadamus becoming a 3/4 Survivor 1, he becomes very annoying very quickly.
Yeah, because I know I was actually Skefty, since you gave me the heads up to check out the balance patch. I've been trying to play Core a lot, and yeah, I really do enjoy him for several of their troops, where giving something, even to Survivor 1, makes it super annoying to deal with. And, I mean, even with 1 mana, like, just depending where I am situationally in the field, sometimes it's worth giving it to one of my troops, buffing it up to, take out something on the other side, yet it still, exists as a risk for my opponent to have to deal with, which, I mean, I do like, but I think I would worry if it kept returning to your hand. That might be a little bit too much. Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like the Word Bearers can use it.
Survivor. So. If it returned to hand, it could lose the Survivor.
Yes.
At the same time, though, I mean, maybe a 2 energy and return to hand, because let's look at our boy Zardu Laylak's Blade. That's a lot of buffs with 3 energy, and it returns to hand.
Right.
I mean, potential that all you do is give it flank.
That's the one thing. The trade-off is 1 is random times 2, and this is a guaranteed. You're getting that +1/+1. You're getting that Survivor 1. I just think it just adds a little extra to Core Pharaon, which he kind of. I mean, why he does it doesn't he loses nothing. He loses the card in hand that he starts with, but if he's already playing troops with his ability or with his deck, like this is a card that's going to serve him. So
the one type of warlord who can afford to lose a card in hand is the warlord who produces stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like Fulgrim started with 1 less. He's just going to replace it with a tactic turn 1. Old Vulcan would play a troop turn 1. They were fine. So Core Pharaon can still pump out his infantry. And he's got some good choices now with all these recent changes.
Yes. And all these cultists and Priest of Doom. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
I really wish I had the Chaos mission to play him even more. Yeah.
It's a fun mission. I didn't get it off 1 time during BNL, but I tried.
One day. BNL's a little bit harder though, because we had the deck restrictions. Although
we had a Decima.
You put out I don't know how many of the
Core Pharaon's Dark Retinue.
Yes,
I put out 5 of them in 1 game.
That was epic. It's like, man, how many of these are we gonna keep seeing? But hey, that's the nature.
I brought my boys. I brought my retinue.
They were there. They're like, no, we will stay by our master's side no matter what.
They did not save me. Well, 1 game they saved me, but against you, they did not save me.
There was no saving. So any other thoughts on the Word Bearers?
I'd say, looking around, I know we were talking about how, the near impossibility of destroying your own Astartes troops and the Word Bearers, but, I mean, having been someone who, not that I often played Word Bearers, but would see someone play Mutant Astartes, and half the time, like, they would just kick themselves in the teeth by, I think my personal favorite was, they played a Slayer of Worlds after it.
Oh.
And then quit the game upon realizing what they did.
And the Mutant Astartes just killed it. Yeah.
Oh, it was like I was not expecting the Slayer of Worlds dropped after this. It was a debacle. But I will say, having been trying to make core and the mission work, late game, if I've been just essentially, getting my butt handed back to me, and they know to target my expendable troops. Astartes, I think once or twice has helped me proc it. Granted, it's the mission, so I wouldn't say I don't think it won me the game. That was more Mutant Astartes and their inability to kill it. But the resolution and then it gains stats on top of that, I actually do kind of like. Or even, heck, if you get the mission, Mutant just, might eat the troop itself. I guess maybe it depends on it procs, but...
Yeah, I think it would depend on timing, right? Like, if you had the mission, because if you play the mission after Mutant Astartes, the Mutant Astartes is going to trigger before your mission. But if it's the other way around, then you should generate a demon. I don't know if the Mutant Astartes would target based off of what was on the board before the demon or after, but then that's when that ability would time. Some of these timing things are really, iffy. Like, if it was an imprint, I think there'd be hard-written rules, like, here's how you have to do it. Does the player have the choice or whatever? But, it's just, that's what the program does, so.
It's an iffy program at best, let's be real here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess Talgron, Talgron, has no downside anymore, because before it used to be less stats than its energy value due to its rally, but now it's just a 9/9 for 9.
Yeah, and when you've got
frontline.
Yeah, you've got things like Deathwing Companions, which
I'm not saying that's a problem.
Yeah.
And he's now up to snuff with the other one.
Exactly. That's really just it. That's really just it. You're not going to put him in every deck because he is kind of costly, but he's got a benefit.
The way I see it is if you can get him out early, any way, shape, or form, and he sticks for even a turn, you now have 3 Astartes who cost significantly less, who are just going to be dropped.
Who are daily, one of them is like a Ashen Circle or something like that, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On curve, you can drop him, and then next turn, drop 2 Dark Martyrs, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that a few times, and it feels good. Until you get Conquer It or something like that, but it feels good.
It's
and I know playing core and even getting some of their rally sacrifice cultist, abilities where I was able to, I think last night I got Soar, got I think Kurtha and 1 or 2 other ones, and just was able to really just push my opponent past the breaking point because they just couldn't deal with kind of all the value on the board, where I think it was Alpha Legion. Yeah, I kept trying to stun everything, which worked for a time or two, but when you have, Kurtha said, who has his ability activated, I dropped I think 1 or 2 other things that he had already, used Instrument, and I think it could have gone either way, I guess, near the end. Once I started emptying my hand, it really can be a lot of pressure that your opponent just can't deal with, but flip side is when you can't.
Yep. When you've got the big guy, but you don't have the small things to sacrifice, you're like, well, is it worth it? Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything works until it doesn't.
Yep. Well, the Legios. We'll do Traitor and Loyalist together because we've got some changes here to the Titans. Port of Doom for the Traitor Legions has its cost from 3 to 4. Heedless Charge had its cost raised from 4 to 5. Heedless Charge is the one that stuns, deals 3 and stuns adjacent, if I recall correctly.
Yes. Yep.
Port of Doom is the one that stuns all troops. Creepy Madness's cost was lowered from 2 to 1. I don't really recall what that does, honestly.
It's a Give Awakened +1.
And it's a +1, yeah.
I don't play as much Traitor Legio as I've played Loyalist Legio, and even then, it's not a lot. I don't know. Bellicosa Cannon, that's the big cannon. It finally has overload. I know a lot of people have outcried for it, begged for it, pleaded for it.
It literally always should have.
Yeah.
No, but it literally always should have.
Yeah. Display of Might, fair cost increase from 4 to 5. That's the hard removal, destroy a damaged troop. Steel Claw loses shield, which is the epic frontline that was a 9/7 shield. Now it doesn't have shield. I don't know if it feels like an epic, but it is what it is. And catastrophic damage has its cost. Oh, no, Display of Might. Sorry, Display of Might is can't attack.
Or can attack.
Yeah, that was board right, can't attack. Catastrophic damage is the hard removal. So all across the board, all across the board, cost increase except for Creepy Madness, and that's about it. It's Titans.
Wow. It changes nothing, really.
Yeah, it slows a few things down, but I think there's still some core issues that
They have the energy
mitigates,
manipulation.
Yeah.
They have the way to reduce cost. They don't care.
Yeah, I have. Granted, I only have one Titan deck that I just was playing around because I got Magnificum and from the event, and I was like, all right, well, sometimes I want to smash people and make them hate Titans more, so I run Magnificum. And I didn't change any single cards. Like, none of the cards I've changed. Like, I had two Steel Claws. I still have 2 Steel Claws. Is it sad that Lost Shield? Does it feel like an epic? No, but it is still a 9/7 frontline that I could potentially give Shield to, or Survivor and +3, like, so, I don't feel like they took a hit here at all. I think the cost increase is fair. I don't think it's over costed. I think these are cards that should cost a little bit more, but the other stuff that does board-wide damage or has energy reduction and damage, like, that is an issue. And the fact that they have so much of it. We talked about this last episode. We were talking about AoE and RNG and the Titans. I mean, none of these are damage-dealing things except for the Bellicosa cannon. Like, there's a couple that stun and can attack to lock down your opponent's board so that you can board wipe them with all your damage, but none of these are damaging things.
Yeah, it really changes nothing, which I don't really like to say.
Yeah,
because I mean, for their weapons, that's all the damage dealing you really need, and if you can stun lock a board once or twice and even just power up a weapon, depending what Titan you're up against, it just clears you out regardless. So yeah, I'd say the stun's the bitter thing, the bitter pill to swallow every time you go up against a Titan, and at least for me, I just don't find it entertaining, and that's someone running a troop heavy board, and whether or not I get lucky enough where I can hit critical mass and shut down important things before they completely ruin my day.
I hate to say this, but it feels like EG has invested too much in the Titan and are afraid of killing them. But man, do they need to be slowed down, because they're right now just on a relentless march.
Yeah, because even the meta list where it's at least 2 or 3 for each faction is in the lower, higher Terra.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like...
And that's based off of play rate, but when you look at win rate, I think you change it up a little bit even further. Like, Titans are Titans. Like, that's just it. And I do think, at this point, we are, I'd have to say, July? 2 months in? A little over 2 months, almost 3 months into this expansion. And we have seen minimal changes to Titans. As a matter of fact, we saw the new Titan added, the Magnificum, which was basically Dias Irae, which Dias Irae was nerfed within, I believe, 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks it was ridiculous, and then they got a hold of it. It's been more than 2 weeks, and Magnificum is still Magnificum.
Yep. And
they've got the Loyalist Legio cards, and granted, less people might have that Warlord, but it's not weak at all, and it doesn't feel like it's the same game. I don't know if we're going to continue to see 1 or 2 cards per balance patch, and if that's the case, it's still going to take 3 or 4 months before you see the right 1 or 2 cards. And I get that they may not want to kill the faction, but if a faction's dominant for so long, or the player base feels that it's dominant based off of the way Everguild has communicated in the past with their Q&As, that should warrant some action, some sort of response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no downside to just taking the Titan faction and just pushing them down the stairs.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll put this out there now, because we talked about this last week. We said if they didn't touch the Titans, we were going to flip tables. Now, they touched the Titans. We've got 2 weeks before a balance patch. So I'll tell you what, if the October balance patch doesn't touch the Titans again, like touched by pick something. Touched by an angel? Touched by an angel of death? I don't care. If they don't touch the Titans again, we're gonna have our meltdown, and maybe we'll have the rant before then. But if they stay consistent with it, if they just touch like one card, the card that nobody uses, it's time. It's time for the Titan talk. But we'll wait. We'll bide our time, because we've got other topics coming up here. We've got the World Cup advancing. We've got other teams that are going to be on and guesting, talking about the game and various other types of cards. So we'll get to that point down the road. But yeah, this conversation is not done. That's for sure.
Gonna say, if you're gonna say meltdown, though, that's something I wouldn't mind seeing appear in their balance patch.
Yeah, I think meltdown is an option. It's a reasonable option, especially if you tweaked it a little bit, and then it would be very similar with Canis Vertex, and you can maybe increase Canis Vertex at that point. People have got options and responses, but They got to get there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Emperor's Children. Emperor's Children received some changes here as well. Marius Verosian, the Warlord, has his ability cost lowered from 2 to 1. The card Hold at All Costs now has its description changed to draw 3 cards. Perfection, refill 3 energy. Concentrated Fire gives your Warlord +1/+0 for every friendly Emperor's Children unit, and then with Perfection heals 2, as opposed for every unit that you have. And Fabius Bile gains a new special card in the same way that Corphaeron did. Fabius's card, though, is Experimental Cloning for 1 energy. Choose an Astartes that died this game and add it to your deck. I got some thoughts on that, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts first.
So Marius, I mean, that's just good. It's better for Perfection. 1 energy is a lot more manageable to keep your permanent stun up. It's random, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Can't complain there, right? Marius was underplayed anyway, so it's nice to see him getting some love. Hold at All Costs is still just... It's not free draw anymore, but it is spend 2 energy to draw 3 cards. Yeah, it's still going to be played. They've done nothing to change it. Concentrated Fire has now completely killed the Lucius and Fulgrim finishers that used to use it and a bunch of little, what are they called? Darkening Sky?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 1/1s.
Yep. And then Fabius Bile just got a good special card. Will people play Fabius all of a sudden? Maybe. I mean, he often only played Nisar Scouts and other stealth neutrals anyways, so he's not getting them back.
I don't think the special card's good. I think it's terrible, actually.
I'm not impressed.
Yeah, I like the flavor of the idea of the experimental cloning that's very Fabius Bile.
Got to reduce the cost.
It wouldn't even matter because it goes to your deck. You have to wait for
it's
something
not a
to
guarantee.
I read that as hand.
No.
Oh,
no, it's deck.
It is as bad as I thought.
It's terrible. Wow. You have to wait for an Astartes that you want to die, and then you get to choose, right? So then it's a choose of 3. So then maybe like around like 5 or 6 ends, you're like, oh, I'll choose 1 good troop, put it in my deck, and hope to draw it. It's terrible.
No, that's awful.
Yeah,
Pick a card and hope Kareen doesn't steal that one.
Yeah, if it was go to hand or put in play for 2 energy, I'd be happy. It'd be fine. It would make sense. It'd be a little extra fluff. Hey, hard removed your whatever, troop, or like maybe early on I got rid of your Jortan Stalker Squad. Guess what? That's in play, and now I'm gonna buff it up with Fabius Bile. I'm gonna juice that Jortan juice. That would be cool. That would be interesting. Yeah. It wouldn't be like something to rely on, but it would be an option because you can still also choose your own Astartes. But just putting in your deck, that just is. Ugh. I don't like it.
It needs a game like draw at least to even be playable.
Yeah.
Because knowing that it can copy enemy Astartes, I don't really want to put it right into my hand, like right into the person's hand, because I feel like that could be cheesed. Where the first Astartes you kill is like the perfect curve Astartes, so you can fight again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if it goes back to deck, it needs to have some upside besides it's now in the deck. Like I got to be drawing a card. It's got to be discounted at least so when I do get it,
or
if I ever get it.
+2 or something. I mean,
like a stat buff.
Yeah. It's
or even like
I don't know.
Or even if it's Bile, like I honestly wouldn't mind. I mean, not that it'd be great, but even if it had said like give it a random mutation once you play it from based off of what he does for his enhancing, like I'd even take that. So there's some sort of flavor to it or differentiation, and also just to harp on the whole can pick up any Astartes. Like I didn't realize that when I was playing Bile the first couple times and ran up against someone where I played it later in the game and I was aiming for some of my really good troops and I got nothing but like just kind of garbage that wouldn't have helped me anyway. But
because if you're playing like a weenie, Ultramarines or Word Bearers, you're like, wow, thanks.
Yeah.
Or this troop that has a rally effect that I may or may not get, but it's a 2/2. So what I don't want that. And you kill 2 of them. There's 2 choices of those now. So I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I mean, I at least appreciate with like him and Marius kind of trying to do something to help out. I would say definitely lesser played, or at least, I mean, for Bile, I'd only do it for like, if I want to mess around and like try to create like a meme or something. But otherwise, I appreciate the effort, but I feel like in his case, he could use a little bit more finer tuning to make that card, like you said, not underwhelming. And I mean, I wouldn't say useless, but definitely not the card I'd choose to play if I have any other option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the changes to Marius and Hold at All Costs. Well, Hold at All Costs, I think we joked about it last week after we were recording. We called it Draw at No Cost. Still technically is, but it's at a lower cost. It still cost 5 to play, to get 3 for free, or 3 for 2, I guess, at that point. But I like the change with Marius. Marius is undersung enough, and just 1 energy ability for a random stun. That's fair. That's in line with everything else. And the Emperor's Children, you can really do some fun stun stuff. So I dig that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this last wave, let's just talk about the last couple here together. The Imperium Secundus. Now, finally, for Blood Angels, this has been
it took how long?
Since the expansion released. Actually, could be since Dark Angels were released, so over a year. Now, finally has the ability to choose a Dark Angel from the Ultramarines and Blood Angels as well, and add it to your hand. Tarek Torgadon.
2 years.
Yes, Tarek Torgadon gives friendly drop pods +1/+1 now. And Kazdrak is now added to Medea's pool of lesser demons. That was important for Medea when he's an event warlord. And Sheed is now part of one of many card pool, which he was not before. So if you were running Sheed, you could consider running one of many again to keep your Sheed. Still a mix-up, but it also means your Exodus, Alfarius, Dynet, and Ingo Peck could turn into Sheed too. So there's a little thing there.
Yeah. They completely broke Tarek, which I'm amazed. There is now a coin flip at 7 energy. It is, can you deal, I think, 24? No. About 24 damage.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, prepare to take, depending on if he buffs him or not, a minimum of 17 damage to your face. Or no, 20 damage to your face.
I think Tarek's fixed, though. It's not even Tarek. It's a fix for both.
It's just muster.
It's just changed muster. It changed muster to either lower cost, less troops, or less troops in general, or however you want to fix it. You change muster. The Sons of Horse are still going to be Sons of Horse, but Tarek's ability, his passive, is not bad at all, because there are several decent drop pod troops that you can still flank into, you can still face strike, but now it's a little bit harder to get that drop pod out, and you take a little bit of damage for doing it. Yeah.
I can't believe they buffed him like this while muster was unchanged.
Yeah, because what this really is this was a buff to muster, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really what it is. The difference is, instead of a 40 hit point warlord, Horus running it, it's now a 35, but the trade-off is my muster is even harder to destroy. You've got to have like a couple select cards. I expect, honestly, I would be shocked, but I mean, it wouldn't be unlikable or unprecedented that EG doesn't touch muster next month. I expect that they will. How they will, I don't know, but I mean, it just makes sense. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
It's got to be a handward too, because it's just another vengeful spirit.
Or you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? They could change frontal assault.
They could.
And muster's still going to hit you for 10 damage with that. So, take one or the other. They could do both. Mm-hmm. Why not? But I don't know. I think Tarek's buff, I really like the passive. I like having just the benefit of having those 3/3s touchdown, or the 5/4s, or the 6/3s that now don't have to worry too hard about. Like, there's a Vorax could take him out, I guess, but it's going to be harder for my opponent to face strike and then hit with me so he can destroy or something like that to get rid of those. They're going to stick a little bit longer. Targhost has got a little bit more beef to his drop pod.
Targhost becomes even more annoying.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't dislike it at all for Tarek and the drop poddy Sons of Horus concept, but it definitely does point to like 2 cards that do need to be touched if you want to keep the idea still relevant.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's nice seeing him as, someone who again likes moving around with all the warlords, like seeing him like surface in so many different practice games, when before I'd maybe run into one a month. At least for me, it's nice to see him get, some of the spotlight, but yeah, definitely, like you've mentioned, it brings to light a couple other issues in Sons of Horus that it would be lovely if they could address them, because muster is just, I'm not a fan of 7 energy and trying to see, do they have muster, do they not, and then if they do, fantastic, look at my health total and maybe just concede to save the minute or two of getting bashed in the face.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problem with muster being is just a coin flip. Do I have the one card that completely stops it? Yes, then I survive this turn. Do I not? No, I lose.
Well, you have the next turn too. That's also important. Like, can you stop the next turn? Yeah.
Yeah, because usually you can't.
Yeah, silent
As an
death
orphan
is super important at this point for a lot of decks.
Yeah, silent death.
Rule of Fear.
You'd think Rule of Fear is good. What is it? Unknown Allegiance, I think it's called for Orphans of War. The one that gives you precog.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You can choose what unit is on, but like realistically, you're going to put it on your Warlord.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Blood Angel card, the 3 energy precog and Survivor 1, can be really good.
Yes.
Yeah. A card that you don't normally play unless you're protecting a troop for an odd reason and you're not using Escape Vent. But no, it's good. You just need a card to keep you safe for a turn and then pray you have AoE.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not really fun. Then again, we're in the bed of the Titans, so that's kind of just the average life expectancy.
You know what they could bring back? You know what they could bring back?
They bring back?
What's the tactic? The 0 energy or the 2 energy Tunnels of Tisca that gave any unit precog. And they changed it now just to give a troop because it was just too ridiculous for all those aggro decks that had to deal with like warlords that stunned and then precogged. Like
Catacombs. Zika.
Yeah,
there we go.
Let's make Catacombs. Let's revert Catacombs back to any non-Titan unit.
Yeah.
At this point, may as well.
Any non-vehicle and Titan weapon unit you can give precog to. I mean, I'm just saying, as it's a low cost, like, would it be frustrating? Sure. Would it be a helpful answer for a variety of decks? Sure. Could it be problematic? Absolutely. But, I don't know.
I mean, hey, for a card that I don't think I ever see play outside of it getting randomly generated, and they have nothing better to do, apparently. Like, I wouldn't mind experimenting with that when it comes to that gives all but Ruinstorm a option to avoid near certain death.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. Well,
I haven't seen that card since they changed it. So
yeah.
I don't think most people remember it even exists since they've changed it.
Nope. You've got the Underhive Tunnels, which gives Duplicitous, right? And then you've got Escape Vent, which gives stealth to a troop, not to your warlord. I mean, there's a couple of things, but like, that when they got rid of that, at the time, everybody breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe it's time to, give some people a reason to sigh in relief for getting it. I don't know. That's just a thought.
We're in a different meta.
Yeah, it is. The game has changed radically because back then it was like Angron and Space Wolves, right? So, I can't get my pack off because he precogged. Oh, they got stunned because or like Custodes. Well, we're past that point now. Now, those decks are not anywhere seeing the aggressive play that they could. Thousand Suns were kind of the top dogs, so they didn't need the extra tool. But now it's a whole different shakeup. So, worth looking into.
Mm-hmm.
Well, collectively, the balance patch as a whole, how would you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Ooh.
I mean, Wordbearer's got some nice stuff. They changed a couple of things that mean nothing, like Zealous Pawn. And then they made Book of Lorgar an auto-include that's broken. So, like a 6 out of 10? Because Titans, nothing changed. Emperor's Children, very little was changed at all. And then Marius got a buff. And then Tarek is now playable. So yeah, 6. Yeah,
I think I'd 6, though. I mean, if this was like Light of Things to Come, where in the next couple balance patches, like a few other warlords from, if they throw in like a warlord or two from other factions that could use a slight tweaking. I mean, maybe not to the extent of accidentally interacting with a tactic that many people dislike and is the bane of my existence, at least once a day or two. I'd go 6 because I mean, some good changes, some changes that maybe not far enough, but other things like I do like the like Marius and even Tarek when it comes to just seeing troops and things that I haven't seen in some time. Actually, like, this is drop pod, so it has some viability with him. I'd go 6, maybe like 6.5. Maybe you could talk me up to a 7 if at least for warlords they kind of tweak a few more of them in other factions that are long since forgotten or like I can't think of right now because I never see them played. Maybe Meme Tour next, fingers crossed.
Maybe.
Keep crossing those fingers.
Meme Tour great at some point ever.
Make Meme Tour great again.
Yes. But
a lot.
I know this is. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming after they do that, they will announce the game is closing for Warp Forge, and I mean, I'll play one game with him for the memories, but
yeah, it's a shame.
But no, overall, I think some good things, and I guess like there's a solid point of my rating is just the fact they finally added Dark Angels to Imperium Secondus, because I'd like to imagine. I feel like it was a sticky note they put on one of their computers, but it fell off and like went behind the desk, and they just forgot about it. And then, oh right, there's this thing. Because I thought we had like a developer like ask them anything like a year ago, and they mentioned it. Like, oh yeah, now that we have Dark Angels, yeah, no, of course we'll update this card. And seeing it now, like, better late than never, but at the same time.
Think about it this way. Come this November, Dark Angels will have been in the game for 2 years. 2 years. We've been asking for this the first months of them being added.
But hey, we have Titans now, so
we didn't ask for those. We asked for this.
I mean, it's the monkey's paw. You know, you got Imperium Secondus with Dark Angels, it just with added new factions.
What added something else you didn't want? You're welcome.
And other kitchen sinks to your, house with only one kitchen. It's fine.
You got to get that kitchen sink from the TV, right? Like that's what they do. They add a TV onto everything. Let's do it the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. They added the garbage disposals to every, dresser in your house.
Do you have a fridge? You have a TV. Do you have a bedroom? You got 2 TVs in there. Depends which wall you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I was going to go with the 7.5, and I'll tell you why. I think I'll go for a 7. But I was thinking about 7.5 because I'm looking at it in light of the last 3 months. The last 3 months, balance patches have been abysmal, and that maybe makes this look a little bit better on the surface compared to what we've gotten in 3 months. But I do like that.
That's Stockholm Syndrome speaking.
What? Who, what?
I said that's Stockholm Syndrome speaking.
I know.
Okay?
I know. That's
the copium. Take the copium
That's
off.
it. I got to dial it down. I do think a 7 is, for me, I feel like a 7 because we have 5 warlords here who got changed. 2 of them are from, one faction in particular, the Word Bearers, but the Word Bearers also received changes to go with it, making it a variety of playing the Word Bearers as well as playing those 2 warlords, giving those options. The cost increases to traders are, the Titans in general are just a general step. Maybe we'll get to where we need to go with them. Is it change anything radically for them? No. But I like that some things are at least like looked at, being addressed, ticked on, took forever to get told at all costs, and concentrated fire. Those are, I don't want to say the last tools, but those were like the tools really that when they made that last balance patch for the Emperor's Children, that they just left off. And continue, and that they were still tools that were able to be, utilized by Lucius players. Imperium Secundus is something, that they finally listened. They listened to the players, or they just finally like, hey, that was on our to-do list forever. We finally did it. We fixed the squeaky door. There's a lot of other squeaky doors out there. Horus still has his Reckoning image on the load screen. I mean, that's been since day one. That's never going to change, I don't think.
At this point, I think it's intentional.
It has to be. But unless you have the alt art, if you have alt art Horus, it shows up different. That's if you want to change it, you gotta buy the alt art. But I think overall, there's some things that aren't great. They aren't like, it doesn't make them super playable, but they did get changed to Zealous Pawn. Am I gonna play Zealous Pawn? I guess not. It's too bad that it doesn't hurt demons. That would have been the one thing I would have used it for.
Because then, if you end up getting that shitty 2/7 demon off your, what's it called, Book of Lorgar, what can you do? You can sacrifice it for some free HP.
7 health is 7 health, baby, and then you don't have to worry about that maintenance.
I feel like they had to not give it demons, because demons would just be too good.
There would be some fat demons, right?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even if you end up getting one you don't want, like a greater demon, like maybe I don't want the Father Decay.
Father Decay. Yeah.
I'm just going to eat them.
It's a lot of health, 14 health.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well.
I think 7 based off of partly of all the variety that it touches. It may not make everything super crazy. Word Bears are going to be more fun to play for sure than they were before. Mm-hmm. I think Tarek is fun than he was. Definitely. You can't say he isn't. If they were to tweak Muster, he still would be playable with that passive. It's a nice passive. It's not crazy bonkers.
I can think of a lot of troops that will love that passive.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll stick with the 7. Could it be lower? Possibly. Is my 7 tempered because the last 3 months have been terrible? I don't know. I think maybe.
Is this Stockholm syndrome?
It's possible. It's possible. Although
does Mr. Everguild have you hostage? Blink twice.
Although they did put on that Sortalgron. They made him a 9/9, so I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, I won't complain about the things we got.
No. I'm like,
it's not enough.
No. I mean, and they added the little fixes too with Sheedranko being in one of many. It was about time, like, to keep things current. Next month will be different. Will we see additional things touched on with Sons of Horus and Word Bearers? Like they used to, remember last year and the year before, actually, last year's, every time they hit a big wave of changes, they would have a follow-up wave with less changes, but changes just the same that enhanced previous things. I'd like to see them get back to that. You know, we're through the beef of this expansion, so we should be at a point where they can devote that time to get us some quality patches again, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We can hope.
We can hope. That's right. Keep your fingers crossed.
The Emperor protects.
Chaos absolute.
Well, Arguss, when you are not playing Legions, what is it that you do?
Apart from teaching history to middle schoolers, which, I mean, keeps me busy. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's medieval world history, so I get a whole bunch of, like, Fall of Rome, Aztec, you know, samurai, ninjas. Like, it's a great time period for finding just really wacky stuff, and definitely censoring some of it, but as a history/sci-fi nerd,
they'll be happy about it. Whether or not the school board will be happy about it is different, but the students would love it.
Well, I'm pretty sure for all my students, they're not snitching, so we're good for right now. I definitely, when we go over the Aztec and human sacrifice, me and my co-teacher, who is also a slight Warhammer fan, do not use the phrase "blood for the blood god."
You have to at least
help them remember it.
You got at least once.
Oh no, we do, and there's always one.
Oh yeah. Don't.
Oh well, sorry. Sarcastically, I don't, but officially, definitely don't.
For all legal reasons, you do not use the phrase "blood for the blood god" once.
No, and for precisely that reason, there's never also the, like, middle school single Warhammer fan whose eyes, like, open, like, oh, I get that reference, and it's lovely. Sorry, outside of that, oh gosh, what do I do? Apart from boring, normal people stuff, like reading and watching TV, and Legions, a little bit of D&D, where I just am a masochist and DM for friends who haven't played the game before, and that's been fun.
I have one of those going right now. Trying to teach 3 different players how to level up at separate times, it's fun.
Oh boy, I don't envy you. I've limited myself to one person, like one group per DMing session, so I don't drive myself insane. Otherwise, game-wise, I guess I should admit to a filthy, disgusting habit of mine where I might have, when it first came out, downloaded the mobile game Lost Crusade.
Oof.
And to be fair, I stick through it just because of the people I've met and I've talked to through it, and I'm really doing it more for them. But, oh yeah, like, Legions is, I mean, fun, and it has its problems. Lost Crusade, like, I would not wish that upon you. It's...
Again, my condolences.
I mean, at this point, it's my fault. I got in too deep, and now... to be fair, I'm excited to see, perhaps in like a year or two, like a game die, because I've never experienced that. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Otherwise, having also been a Nintendo fan and fan of kind of strategy games, I guess that'd be clear if, you know, played Warhammer. Always liked Fire Emblem, so I have that as well for Fire Emblem Heroes, just as like a little mindless thing and messing around. And again, since I don't really have the time to sit down like console-wise or, you know, I mean, granted, I don't miss painting in Warhammer because I'm atrocious at it and I don't have the patience. And while I will definitely watch the occasional YouTube tutorial and tell myself maybe one day I'll get like a kill team, that's a lot of effort. And at this point, to save myself embarrassment, I might as well pay someone to paint a few models for me instead.
Well, and with all the time that goes into buying, building, painting, and that's great when there's a hobby, and then you get like one game that's like 2 hours long, and you're like, all right, it took me 2 months to get that one game, or you just download a game and get going and play from there because it's all virtual.
Yeah, and that's what I'd say the convenience is, because at least the computer I have is a dinosaur and barely keeps itself together, and my phone is much more high-tech than that, so play Legions mobile, which, I think, works out very well. I don't have any real complaints with that apart from the occasional, cards, or I feel like usually the occasional service interruptions from players who I'm sure it's completely an accidental disconnect, and it's not at all having to do with the board state and how I was winning. And
that's somehow how did it happen? They were working on my phone lines outside just now.
I love the users who claim, it's just my bad connection, but it only ever happens when they're losing.
Right.
And it's great.
Yeah, and I don't know, I feel like it's been a relatively recent one where it's the connection issue where it takes like a minute or two for it to process, and then you just get the opponent has left screen.
That's not their fault, though, that one.
Yeah, it's just, I'd say in the last, probably 2-3 months, I had never experienced that. It was always the, 30 seconds till disconnect type thing.
Yeah,
but
that is just desync, or usually is desync.
Okay, so I hadn't experienced that, and I was so used to the other screen, and then the few people who would disconnect and reconnect. And granted, when I'm playing the game, when I should maybe be fully concentrating on cooking a meal, there have been a few times where I've done that, and that's I understand that, but it's definitely always intriguing where when it happens to my opponent, it's not typically during a high stakes, it could go this way or that way moment in the game. But that's about. Oh gosh, I feel so boring.
No, that's fine.
No, I'd say that's just about it. Swap between the 3 games. I'd say Legions is probably kind of like the 50% mark, just when it comes to playing this. I would say mentoring, but at this point, I think 2 out of my 3 players, I wanted to wait to graduate them until they got their rank 1,000 and can get the final box.
Mm-hmm.
To date, I think one is level... Oh, sorry. 1 sec. I can look it up because I'm amused at this point. I just kind of want to see it happen. She's rank 38, which I just find amusing, and is enjoying the game, and the conversations we have in the chat is nice.
Oh, but just hasn't hit the milestones yet.
The only one they're missing is rank 1,000, because I think they're just enjoying playing, practice and doing a whole bunch of stuff where they're 897, but that hasn't moved for. I want to say a couple weeks, but they got, I gave them all the gems because, honestly, I know looking online and reading some of the chat, I know people do it for certain milestone things, but I don't know. I play this game for fun. Usually I'll dole it out in maybe 400. So especially if they're a newer player, they can buy oh, what's the faction you're going for? How about buy this really good epic when it's in shop, type of money. Because I'd rather more people get in. They're having fun with it. And then maybe some of them don't go full chaotic evil and pick go full Raven Guard mission or Ultramarines mission or.
No, I definitely call those missions lawful evil. Chaotic evil is the DCing constantly.
Fair enough. Now you're I'm just malicious. Level of salt is blinding.
That's true malicious.
But no, it's I enjoy the game. I like messing around. I like trying to make the Salamander's mission work. And
I wish you luck on that one.
I get it ever so often. Granted, I'm kind of cheesing it out with Numian, and usually, I guess it depends on the troop. But I win every so often in practice, and it's fun. Well, I'd say I win 40% of the time, and then out of those games, 1 in 10, the opponent actually lets me play the reward, and I win with the reward.
Oh, nice.
That's what sucks about a lot of those rewards, where you spend the entire game getting it, but by the time you got it, you already won. So
no. And I will say at least the satisfaction of, because for that deck, I guess I'm crazy too, and I include the newer Salamander who buffs the any Imperial Army unit, just because I figured I needed frontline to try to keep my troops alive in any way necessary, and getting his ability and then the mission. And seeing the scout, the 1-3 stealth scouts just bulk up is very satisfying. Yeah, but it's a shame it never seems to last too long. Which I get it. I know I've been guilty of once someone gets what they need, if I'm in a not amazing mood, just kind of, seeding the match, cool, game over. But yeah, no, I mean, I'd say overall, I like playing the missions. I mean, the missions that I would say if someone was playing against me, I wouldn't like roll my eyes back into my head, which to me is kind of really just 3 missions. But no, like definitely I love the Word Bearers kind of editions where, I mean, it convinced me to take Chosen out of shop when it popped up recently and give it a whirl. And I would say, as someone who's, I mean, played for not as long as I'm sure many others, but for, good probably 2 years at this point. If not, well, I know you said Dark Angels was 2 years ago. Oh gosh, okay, I guess I've been playing this for 3 years. But as someone, for me who likes just messing around, like, I'm not aiming to... I mean, it's nice to win, but at the same time, if I can achieve the mission at least, like, I'll take that for, like, a side quest. That's always fun. Right. Then, the Death Guard one I enjoy as well. Though, again, that's...
another meme.
Yes, and, I mean, hey, for Mortog, it's entertaining, but...
Sure. I haven't done up with the Death Guard just yet. I'd like to, but I haven't been there. Why no Death Guard?
No, would you like to?
Oh. Why not? Hey.
Gritty, determination.
Pain.
The smell, probably.
Yeah. Get that poison off, baby.
The strange rash that never goes away and festers.
Yeah. What you been up to, Axel?
Well, I'm still running that Spelljammer campaign. Last night the players got into a ship and ship-by-ship combat with Draconians. It was great. Dole spent like 3 rounds of combat petrified because his con saves were awful. Just some good fun there. I learned that the Spelljammer battle maps, though, are actually awful, and whoever made it at Wizards of the Coast should feel bad. Not only is each individual, like, drawing different scale, so, like, it divides the ship into several parts for each floor, they're a little bit crooked, and each block or each square is different dimensions. They're all supposed to be equal 5 feet, but one of them is, like, drawn to be an inch, and another's, like, 0.9, another's, like, 0.7, for no reason. So it makes scaling on a battle map miserable when you're doing it digitally. I don't know who designed that. I think they're awful, and they should feel bad.
Yeah, they should feel bad.
Besides that, still playing Tacticus. It's a fun game. I don't play it a lot, but, for out of Warhammer mobile games, it's not a big market, and they're not exactly good. So you kind of take what you get. And Spelljammer campaign's going great.
All right.
3 new players who've never played before, so it's fun. I had one learn that speak with animals doesn't make the animal intelligent. So when they chose that spell as their bard level up and thought they could suddenly have an intelligent conversation with their pet, and they were just led with "me want food," they felt bad. Life advice: read a spell before you get it.
I mean, where's the fun in that, though?
True. Always do random shit and pray for the best.
I mean, we'll say as a DM, it's always fun to see what the party can come up with, and you'd think things would be straightforward, but no, they will find the tiny loophole you left in and proceed to get themselves killed.
Yep. Oh, and besides that, the Magic the Gathering cards come out for Warhammer next month, so I have pre-ordered those. So that sounds fun. The collector's edition would have cost me a casual $900, so I decided not to do that.
You sure?
I really, Scuff, I put away some side money, right? We all do for a little bit of, like, leisure. I don't have $1,000 in the side cash to put away for a bunch of cards. I don't care how good the Surge foils look.
You don't think so?
Whatever the hell a Surge foil is. I don't think I want to do that, Scuffy, my boy. I think that's a lot of money. Instead, I just bought the 4 regular decks, so I can get some buddies who come over who all like different factions, and we can just play and have fun. So that's what Commander's for. None of that meta stuff.
That's fair.
It looks good, too. Each faction comes with 2 commanders in total. When it comes to Necrons, all of their commanders, like all legendary cards, work because they're all mono. But for Chaos, they got Abaddon and Be'lakor. Necrons got the main ones, the Silent King and the Stormlord. I forgot his real name. Imperium has Greyfax and Calgar, and the Tyranids have Swarmlord, and it's a Magus, like one of the Genestealer cult leaders, but I forget his name. Yeah, it's one of those. They have options, and they're all really unique, so that's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
I've definitely seen the artwork and things appear, and it definitely seems pretty neat.
Yeah, the artwork is either... The artwork they did themselves is really good, but then some artwork is just taken from Codex and stuff, and they still look good. 40k art just generally looks nice. But yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
But that's me.
Well, very good. Very good. I haven't been up to much. I couldn't tell you what. It's been busy. It's been a blur. things have gone on and things are still going on. I guess I don't know. We'll find out what I'm doing next week. I've been playing. The World Cup finally started going again, and we had some delays, some hiatus. We finished up the group stage, so we'll progress at some point to the top cut, and we'll see where we go. Who's in it? Who's playing? What that looks like? I have no idea. All right.
Yeah, I heard some setbacks had happened.
Yeah, it happens.
It does.
Do you guys have anything you'd like to plug?
I'll do the usual. My boy Drew Lee Clark on Instagram. He does my profile pictures. That's Dorn Stash to most of us. Lovely guy, great person. Check him out there. He does art. He does these little Matchbox things a lot. They look very nice.
Guess not that I know anyone or endorse anyone, but hey, since I do Reddit stuff, Reddit page, and also the Discord too, because I use that. Well, I don't talk on it, but just especially if you're a newer player or just want to know what's going on, I'd say both groups have a fairly decent population of people who, can try to help you out. And yeah, especially if you're new to the game or looking to get further into the game, I'd say you can't go wrong going either places. And if you have questions, I think the Discord's a little bit more timely with it, but I'd say either one would work.
If you're a new player, remember the fear of the hot shake, or the hot milkshake one. He's out there. He's lurking.
That's right.
The Reddit taught me.
I keep pinging him occasionally on the Discord and hoping that he'll respond.
He never responds.
At some point. Someday.
I don't even think he does.
He's not even aware of the lore that he is part of, just inadvertently by being the one player.
One player chosen to be hated by... I can't remember their username.
I have no idea who the guy is. I have no idea. The guy's done so many odd, weird alt accounts to try to get noticed.
We've heard his username before, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, no idea.
He used to be part of the war community.
I thought it was Iron Hands.
They're part of that group.
Oh, okay.
They're in it.
No idea.
Unremembered Empire, that's what it is. It's like the group.
Well, I'm going to ping plug. I'm going to plug ping. October's Barnet Legions. We're only in the mid-September, but we're talking about October early on to give everybody plenty of time to get hyped about it. We're going to do the 3rd annual Epic Bar Night Legions Barroom Brawl Bash. It's all epics. 100% epics. All your decks have to be all epic cards, all epic warlords. That eliminates some cards. That eliminates Titans, because guess what? They can't have all epic weapons. That eliminates, the legendary warlords. That eliminates the legendary cards, but everything epic. And then we're playing that on, I want to say it is October 21st. Check-in starts at 5 p.m. The game starts at 7 p.m. U.S. Central. So if you are available for that and you want to join us, the Epic Barroom Brawl Bash has been going on for 3 years, which is 1 year short of when I started the Barnet Legions. And it's a fun time. Get on Vox, have fun, have drinks, celebrate my birthday, play some cards. Maybe I'll have some promo codes to give away. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible. I've been kind of stockpiling promo codes, not because I meant to, but just like every time I thought about streaming, I'd ask for promo codes, and then something would come up, and I just didn't have time to do the stream. So I still got the codes. I still got a lot of codes I'd like to give away to folks. I still got some streams I should probably do, but yeah, we'll make something fun of that. So that's what I've got going on for October. And outside of that, I don't have a whole lot other. Just keep paying attention to what's going on in the community. I feel like end of October, early November, we should be hearing rumors, mumblings, anticipations of anything what is to come, whether it's a new expansion or what 2023 is going to look like for the game. But it's that fall weather. People are going back to school. People got things to do, So come or go. Have fun, play the game, and yeah, that's it. All right.
So,
well, Soul Cake Duck, Arguss, thank you for joining us today, making the time, being able to hop on, talk about the balance patch, as well as just the game, the fun stuff that it has to offer. I appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for leaving the open invite to allow, really, I feel like anyone from the community to talk, because not that I'm able to hit every single one of these, but I really appreciate the diversity of people, and hopefully I didn't make a complete fool of myself and leave you two to carry the entire show.
No, yeah, that's really a good reason why I started the podcast. It's great to hear from people of all levels, shapes, sizes, interests, and that open invite And we've had a lot of conversations. It's good when you have somebody just wants to talk, whether we're talking, and we don't know sometimes we don't even know what we're talking about till like the day before, like last week.
Yeah.
We really weren't sure.
We were hoping for a bounce patch, and it happened the day after we recorded.
It happened after we recorded, like literally like 6 hours after, I think, is when the announcement went up. I was like, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We still had a good conversation.
I think it just means the EG Alpha Legion operative that listens to your show just,
They
in advance.
They infiltrated my PC, and they knew. They dialed in with Hot Milkshake 1, and they were aware.
Oh, yeah.
He's everywhere.
He can't
nowhere. To be added to the, one of many in the next balance patch?
That's right. That'll generate the Hot Milkshake 1 operative card, and you better look out when they play that, because you don't know what you're going to get.
Truly unstoppable.
I want to see somebody make that fan art. Do that fan card. I'm gonna commission somebody from the card making channel. See what they can come up with. They do have to be brought up to speed on the Hot Milkshake 1 more. So
I mean, you just hit up Razzle.
There you go. He should know.
Razzle?
He should know what's up. He knows the score.
He knows how to edit photos to make them horrific.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining us again, everybody. Paying attention, listening up. Like I said, next week we're talking with Team Spain from the World Cup, and we'll see what the topic. I think we're going to kind of wrap up the group stage, have some discussions on that, as well as anything else that might be worth discussing next week, and we'll go from there. All right. Yep. That's it from me. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
It ends here.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
I can't help but appreciate your talents.
It was inspiring.
I need some wood.